So everything is basically drenched. I've just tried clearing out some of the dirt here because it was backing up against the edge of those pavers there. This has got a little bit of flooding happening. This bit doesn't have obviously enough of a slope to be able to get down that drain fast enough. And I had unblocked, there's one on that side as well that I made go under the shed, so I'd unblocked that. Basically it's flowing down here, washing down from the front of the house, all the way down here, building up along a lot there, so undoubtedly I've got water all through the underneath the workshop there, because you can see it's above the top of the edge there. My retaining wall works. I never got the drainage in there, so I need to get that in there now. Crap. I had a look out the window. Had a look out the window earlier. Next door neighbours have had a tree right onto there. Looks like it's just caught the corner of their back deck. Yeah, it's right on the fence line. You can see the root ball pulling up the fence. Actually, it's knocked over the fence in the way it's come up. Awesome. Loads of just streaming water flowing down the back here. We are technically a water course. And out to survey the damage, I guess, in the yard. Jenny. A lot of runoff. All that sort of stuff down there. There's more bamboo popping up. There's the next door neighbour's tree. There's the roots. Roots really shallow. I was sitting on top of a rock. But I thought I saw some moisture down this back end. And I've discovered this. And water is still flowing out of that. So I go I'm assuming you heard that. Yeah. It looks like this is... Oh, that's still flowing out. Now it could be just a lot of seepage and an old pot buried, but I doubt it. I've got a feeling that this might actually be the outlet for the pipes that come down from the house guttering, which is up there. Of course, I know where that shed is. I know that the sewer line is directly under there, and it sort of comes down the hill and it goes down, and there's the inspection point just there before it goes out to the main line that goes down to the sewer, which is actually just over there. But right next to it was a smaller pipe that just had the moisture coming from the roof guttering, and it came down the same spot, and I've got a feeling it might have just sort of seeped out into the ground here. And this has been uncovered because of me clearing the block and all the rain. Rain's uncovered some of these bamboo runners, which might make it easier to try and dig some of them up. You can see how shallow the root systems are on these things. That's only about 2 foot deep at the most. It was sitting on top of a giant piece of sandstone, which is all of this thing. And that was a big tree. I think they got off lucky It's only just hit the back of the, just bent the guttering on the deck. It has pulled one of the fence posts out though. That'll have to get reset. Oh, that came across quick. It's Tuesday morning and I feel like I need to do a catch up because I missed it yesterday. The rain that we've had, while such an amazing blessing in terms of the fires, because the fires near me up is showing that all gone. They're saying that they're extinguished, and I wouldn't be surprised if if a fire survived that rain, it would have had to have been raging to do it. There's still some fires down south, down the south coast, which was meant to get more heavier amount of rain, but they're probably just so intense that they couldn't actually extinguish the stuff. There's been, according to reports, so much rain over this weekend. It's been the largest amount of rain in one dumping in 30 years. 33 years, I think they said, which explains the flooding. We've now got flooding everywhere. I had a staff member who couldn't come to work yesterday because she could not get across the river because the bridges were washed out. My wife showed me a photo that somebody had posted who was on a train heading up the mountains, and the train line was washed out at Lura, and the driver saw it and stopped the train in time before it went over this washed out section of track. The rain has brought its pluses and minuses. Well, there's been trees down all over the place. Power was out at down at Blacksland yesterday because of a tree that dropped on the power line. One of my sheds leaks like crazy. Also had water go through the basement area. When I checked in the crawl space, it was bone dry, which means that the water is just seeping through. So I'm going to have to see if I can get some drainage into that crawl space maybe. There was a large amount of water on one side, which is where I did a whole lot of waterproofing. And by the looks of it, it looks like the old chimney from the fireplace that was in the house before I bought it. The top of that chimney stack looks like it's rusting and tilted. So I've got a feeling that it's just letting rain straight into the top of it, and that's what's causing the water to come down into the basement along the bricks. So I've got to get in and pull out more of the ceiling and the wall in that room before I do anything else, because I was going to leave that until the laundry was done. There's water coming in on the laundry side from the kitchen door, so I need to get that cover finished over the kitchen door. Otherwise, I'll do work in the laundry and the bathroom down there, and it'll be for nothing. Looks like some prioritisation with the projects at home. Yesterday, took me an hour and a half to get to work because of the traffic and a few roads that were closed because of flooding, one of the roads that I travel along. And it was just an extremely flat out day, despite the fact that I only had 2 classes. Everything else was administrivia, and a group turned up to check on all our machines for the department, basically making sure that the stock take was correct on what we actually have in the rooms. We had to go through every room. My Year 11 construction class, I finally had them for a prac lesson. We went through our assessment, they were good, and then we did a short bit of prac, and they were pretty good. I've got them today twice, and we'll continue with that, getting some practice with the tools and the joints and what they've got to try and do. But yesterday afternoon, I was too wiped to even try and do this. I just had to stop at this down in Glenbrook. There's the highway, and I looked off into this park with this tree that obviously had sprouted out from 2 spots at the ground, and the root system has just cracked with it's really soggy just there, and the wind. There's one side of the tree, there's the other side, and it had just fallen, obviously. And as a woodwork teacher, I had to stop and take a photo of that. That's incredible. It's amazing how shallow the root systems are on these gum trees, and is it any wonder that some fall over in a storm like this so easily? I mean, this tree here, that's basically what that one was, but much bigger. So massive inclusion right in the center, which is an incredible weak spot. It allows water to just build up and soak into it. And so down in that one there, you get a lot of weakness caused right in the center of the tree. And with it blowing backwards and forwards, it's actually got nowhere to move in one direction. So when it hits the other side, it's pushing the other tree and it doesn't get a chance to swing. And it just goes, fall down. And if you've got a house nearby, bad luck. Just finished up class with Year 11. There's 30 on the list. 20 were here today, so this room was really crowded. They did well. We were doing some basic cutting and sawing and joinery. I had to come up with 3 pieces of construction timber. And we showed them how to do a halving joint, mark it out and cut it. And this is all practice for when they actually do their assessment, which is similar but with thicker timber. It's gotten really hot and muggy, so we had the door open. It definitely helped with that class. And with the Year 12 that I had just before. Now I should have had these guys twice today, period 2 as well, but they were doing a thing called All My Own Work, which is a thing that they have to do for the HSC. I'm pretty pleased with the group. They're a nice bunch of kids, fairly cooperative as I can see so far. Pack up will take some practice, but this wasn't too bad. It's hot. I've definitely got to buy more vests, and I think some more boots too. I think it was a good start. It was a good start. This was only their second practice, and they're still eager and very keen to be getting things right, which is good. Lunchtime now, going to pack up and finish packing up. Make sure my boots are all in order. Go have some lunch. It's Thursday. Yesterday was just a theory day for my classes, so nothing much to report from there. I got another riding day in the city today. On the weekend, I think it was Sunday, the train line up at Lura got washed out with all this rain that suddenly belted through the area. But because of that, trains are only coming up as far as Springwood at the moment, which means I can't just run down to my local train station and jump on a train into the city. I've left earlier to make sure that I can get down to Springwood, find parking, get myself up onto the platform and ready. You never know what's going to happen on a 15-20 minute trip. I've got to make sure I don't go falling asleep on the train. Although with the trains only going as far as Springwood, it's not like I can miss the stop. That's where it's ending. They actually had some articles out on Facebook asking people, anybody who would normally get onto a mountains train, Penrith, Blacktown, Parramatta, Strathfield, that sort of thing, could they please consider catching a suburban train, because with the track being washed out, and I hadn't thought of this, with the track being washed out at Lura, there's apparently 52 train carriages that got trapped on the other side of that washout, which means they're not available for use down here. Instead of running 8-car trains, they're running 4-car trains apparently more often. The train I'm catching is the normal time train that I would be catching. I've just got to head down the hill and get onto it. And they got buses running up and down the highway. I didn't want to jump on a bus. So I'm going to be there early. The train might already be waiting there and I can just tap on and get on. I think I said one of my staff got trapped at her house north on the northern edge of the mountains because the river got flooded, and she got into work yesterday, and then we had more rain yesterday, and I heard in the afternoon before I left work that there were reports that the road was going to be closed again because the river was going to flood again. So I'm hoping that she ended up getting home all right, I honestly don't know if there's a long way around. And that's one of the things my wife kind of complained about here, and that's there's so many places like the mountains that have one way in, one way out. So when you have things like bushfires and floods, you get stuck. Or you get stuck in traffic trying to get through. Just pulling into Springwood, I'll get into the commuter parking area, and yeah, I've got about 15 minutes before the train's due to depart. People are already heading up into the high levels of the parking, so it must be crowded already. They said it was likely to be. And this is why I needed to make sure I left earlier. No lights in the parking station. What's happened with the power? It's Friday. Had year 11 this morning. We got some more joint work done, but just before it I got a phone call, and it was a delivery driver out the front saying, "I've got a Hafco machine for you." I had no idea what was going on. Turned out to be this dust extractor, and I said, "Are you sure it's this school?" Like, I got the guy to come around the back, and he said, "Yeah, it says Biddle." And I looked at it, and it had the name of one of my other staff on it, and I'm going, what's he doing ordering machinery? Turns out that is the extraction for the brand new laser cutter that our boss approved the other day. And because it got approved, my tech administrator got it ordered quick smart. And I think the order went through Wednesday. That's arrived today. The guy from LST is coming to do a site visit on Monday afternoon so that we can check that we've got all the requirements we need. Because it's got that, I don't know if it needs to be vented outside. But if it does, we've chosen the metal room because it's the cleanest room. There's not going to be anything getting in, like any wood dust or anything getting in the machine, the laser. But we're just trying to decide whether it'll go where one of these cupboards are, or if it doesn't need venting, I'm actually thinking we could put it up in this back room. We got power right there, which should be suitable for both, I believe. We can move the Magnum Bender, especially since it's still not working. That might be able to go down that side. And that way, if we have it up here, next door actually has some computers in it, so we could use that as our design room. The kids do their designs. Bring a USB into here with a laptop with the laser. But guy comes out on Monday and we'll decide on that choice at that point. I've got about half an hour until my year 9 class back in Timber, and we'll see where we go from there. But kind of excited that the laser's coming. It's a 50 watt laser, a little over an A3 size bed, I believe. Might be a bit bigger, I'm not really sure. I just know it's the middle of the range one, and probably one of the most popular ones amongst schools. Now we've got to find projects, but I'm sure we'll find heaps and heaps of projects to do with it and get all staff trained up on using it. Woodworking is meant to be relaxing. Trying to work with a room full of year 9 boys who don't have much of an attention span and just want to jam chisels into just about everything that's in front of them is a bit stressful. I've probably got about a few kids, maybe 5 or 6 in that whole group of 25 that really want to try and develop their skills, and the others just want to muck around. It's really hard to keep on top of them. There's quite a few that I had from last year that need a lot of support, and I think I might need to go back to some of those strategies that I had last year, because at the moment yeah, I wouldn't call that class a raging success. Mildly, but not a raging success. Anyway, it's the weekend next. We'll get on to that next week.